Hello, everybody, and welcome to MangaPod. We're a weekly podcast in which we all get together at. Sorry, I just saw my picture pop up.
You gave it to me.
I know. I didn't expect it to be so there.
She wasn't ready for it. She wasn't prepared.
We're a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week we are talking Ajin, chapters 29 to 43, featuring Random. So let's go around and introduce yourselves. I'm Erin. With me are my little co-hosts, as well as special guest Random.
Wow, I'm Duger. And with me are two of our co-hosts, as well as Random.
My name's Lou, and with me are two of our co-hosts, as well as our guest, Random.
Yay!
Hi, I'm the guest Random with three lovely co-hosts.
Yeah, Random.
And yourself.
Yes, exactly. I won't do that because I'm a little sick, so I'm trying not to do things to my throat.
Fair, yeah.
I was gonna
preserve,
say it would
preserve
sound real good,
yeah.
but I don't want you to get sicker.
My lovely wife gave it to me. I love her dearly.
Is that who I keep hearing coughing in the background?
Yes, yeah, we actually had to go to urgent care yesterday because she was coughing all night. So it's nothing like serious. It's just seasonal allergies on top of a cold. So it's, you know, it's good timing. It's great. So
yeah, why have one thing when you could have multiple?
Yeah, Volcano los dos. Why not?
Why
Let's
not?
just do it all. But no, she's getting better. So
Oh, good. If you guys have never joined us for a MangaPod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description of the manga that we read, aka summary that will be read by Random.
oh no. Back again.
Then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if it sounds like something you're interested in, you can take your leave before we get to spoiler section. Once we get to spoiler section, we ask that nobody post any spoilers after chapter 43.
Mm-hmm.
And until we get to spoiler section, please don't post any spoilers whatsoever in the chat. Don't post fake spoilers or anything like that, because we may not know if they are fake or not. So just
I know
don't
if they're
cast
real.
it. Yeah. Random knows if they're real.
I read up to volume 11, so don't try me.
Don't try. So, Random, if you don't mind.
The spoiler-free summary?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
See while my face goes really white while I open now.
Yeah.
17 years ago, mysterious immortal soldiers known as divine warriors appeared on the battlefields of Africa. These life forms later became known as Ajin, or demi-humans, and were considered to be one of the greatest discoveries of mankind. The government declared their existence to be compatible with humans. However, it is rumored that they instead offer bounties for captured Ajin to secretly perform inhumane experiments on these rare beings. Kei Nagai, an apathetic high school student, which high school student isn't apathetic, is studying to become a doctor and only wishes to live a normal life. However, this simple dream is shattered after he suddenly gets into a deadly traffic accident. Reviving at the scene, he is immediately labeled as an Ajin by bounty-hungry witnesses. Unable to understand his immortality or prove his innocence, he starts to live his life on the run and fights for survival. He barely escapes the government's reach when a group of anarchistic Ajin contacts Kei, asking him to join their forces to retaliate against the government. But who is Kei's real enemy, and which side will he take when it comes down to humans versus Ajin?
Wonderful, thank you. Let's do spoiler-free recommendations. Would anybody like to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
No.
It's really good. I like the anime a lot, but I prefer the manga. Like especially this section of reading, it felt very complete. Like this it feels good going into a MangaPod, and like you go through it and like you feel the story building itself up. And usually you expect to get blue-balled because honestly that happens to us more often than not.
Pretty consistently.
Oh.
And just getting to that last chapter and getting somewhat of a resolution, like this was really good. Like this section of reading was really good, and as a whole, my entire experience with the Ajin manga has been absolutely solid. Huge fan of this manga. So yeah, definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I second all of that. I think that it's just gotten better, honestly. Some of the like characterization and writing at the beginning felt a little bit flimsy, and it's really fleshed itself out at this point. The art is great. The story is really interesting. I definitely recommend it. I really enjoy it at the point that we're at now.
Random, would you like to go?
Sure. I recommend it pretty heavily. I've bought it. No, it's really good. I agree with everything that's been said. I don't really have anything to add per se. It's really good, and I definitely recommend you reading it. Although it's definitely a mature content. There's a lot of blood and dismemberment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I agree. I thoroughly enjoy Ajin. I've kind of like in the same place as you guys in that at first it was like okay, but I feel like it's gotten stronger as it's gone on. And I really enjoy the action and the thoughts that gets put into the action. Like I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the scenes definitely feel like they're not just there to be gratuitous or just to be action. Like they're very fleshed out. It's like writing within the writing for the action scenes is very well done while also developing the characters. And the villain has been pretty gosh darn great, especially in this section. And so I think it's definitely something that people should check out. And if it sounds like something that's up your alley, you don't want to be spoiled for it. So
It's true.
I definitely think you guys should go ahead.
Time doing a MangaPod?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely worth reading and then coming back to this.
Oh, I have a note that I think like in the spoiler-free section, I think I kind of need to get across. This section of reading was not in the anime, and it deviates from the anime. So I don't know if what happens in the anime happens after this section of reading. Though it would make sense more like because I don't want to spoil the anime either, but there's a huge difference. So if you've only ever seen the anime, be aware that
doesn't mean you're safe.
Is very, very different.
Yeah.
I'd have a hard time believing that they just skipped this section and moved on to the next one, because this one's kind of important for the next section of the manga. So
yeah, I can't imagine.
I'm assuming it's probably just diverted entirely.
All of this felt very important.
Yeah.
So
there was nothing in what we read that felt like it could be skipped over for whatever happens next. Sweet. Should we jump into spoiler section?
Yes, please, so that we can stop being vague. I would love that.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
As I was talking, I was like, let's just skip.
I thought the same thing. I was like,
I'm like, don't spoil it yet.
Okay. This is your chance. This is your chance to get out of here.
Yeah. Peace it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sato is
gone. Sato's gone.
Yeah.
For sure.
Though a very close second is the wood chipper.
True. In Sato versus wood chipper, and everyone wins.
But the wood
That's the best ship, to be
really
honest.
was used by God.
The truest ship.
The actual ship.
Sato x wood chipper.
Sato x wood chipper.
They know each other so intimately.
They're very intimate. That's true.
It's just.
Oh my gosh.
It's just.
Can we? So we usually start with the question, what were you expecting for reading this manga? This is our third time reading it. So we kind of have gone over what we have felt about this manga before, but as a refresher, yeah, you're good. Face.
And I thought my cats were going to be the ones just getting all up in it.
I know. I thought my baby. We're getting child aggro today. It's all good. So as a refresher, kind of going into like, what were you guys expecting reading this section of it? Because I know for like the first MangaPod we did on it, we were all kind of like, yeah, it has a lot of potential. Like, I think it's gonna get better. Then the last one, it was like even felt a little bit more strongly about that. And then, so what were your expectations going into this batch of reading?
Anyone want to go first? I don't mind going first.
Hit it,
Like,
Lou.
All right, so my expectations going into this is manga because like since the last time we'd seen it, I'd for sure like I know for a fact I'd finished the anime at that point. So I was like really sold on Ajin as a concept. So my expectations were set pretty high. And honestly, like when going into this batch of reading, I'm like, all right, cool. I've seen the anime. I know exactly what's gonna happen. And it was completely blindsided by the left turn they took. And honestly, like, while I like what the anime did, I definitely preferred the direction that the manga took. This, especially like the level of gore was really amped up in this section, and like I like that the gore doesn't feel senseless. Like it feels so integral to the storytelling in Ajin that it's kind of it would feel wrong if there was less gore. So like I'm very satisfied with my reading experience with Ajin. But yeah, like in terms of like initial expectations for this batch of reading, I expected it to be the anime, and it was not the anime, which is good. Like it's a refreshing and very different feeling. So like I got sucked in and just knocked out this, what was it, 14 chapters. I knocked it out in like an hour.
Yeah, it's a
ridiculous.
really fast read.
Yeah. I really liked this batch of reading, and like before, I think we said this before we went live, but I was surprised that like basically all of it was in one scene. It was all just one scene, really. But yeah, despite it being like so many chapters for really one like event, it did feel like everything was so purposeful and well thought out. And yeah, I think for you to say that like the action feels, every bit of action feels like it supports character development, is like really well thought out, is like important to the story. I think that's absolutely true. Like every element of what happened in this, I was like, oh fuck, right? Like there wasn't like a bunch of like, and now our Ajins are gonna fucking like swishy fight each other for fun, like that. Never. Everything is so specific and systematic, and like it really does support this idea that there are geniuses on both sides that are like clashing. Like it's really well done. This whole section was really intriguing for me.
Going into it, I was expecting a battle, just that was kind of what was foreshadowed in the previous reading. But I did not expect it to be just this one long thing. And I was just so engaged into it. Okay, making sure the baby. I thought the baby was about to wake up. That scared me. So engaged, and also what I didn't expect was it to solidify the like rivalry, like hate relationship between Kei and Sato. Because it's very fascinating to watch a relationship like that play out from the very start of it, with no like real past or anything between them, like watching it start like this and then growing from the like what we started reading to the very end, where like Kay is real pissed off. Just makes me wonder what's gonna happen, what happens next.
I hadn't reread this since it had been coming out however often, so reading this as it was being published was terrible, because you get to the end of volume 8, or is it volume 7? Is it volume 7 I'm thinking of? Yeah, the end of volume 7 with the fan, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? What are they doing? And they're like, we'll talk to you in 6 months. Like, no, not 6. God damn it. So just having to wait through all this was amazing. It was amazing because the way that its pace is perfect. And yeah, the way the escalation that you get in this reading, because initially it escalates, but not as much as this like entire encounter escalated the entire just overarching feel of the manga. It feels like it took it to another level.
So can I tell you guys what was probably my favorite part of this batch of reading?
Was
Yeah.
it the
The
wood
wood
chipper?
No, it was not.
I mean, the wood chipper was good.
I mean, I have layers. Not everything has to be gore.
Well, so did Sato.
That's fair. No, my favorite part was when Sato was gonna kill the lady scientist, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and his subordinate was like, "No, dude, I know you put together this list, but can we please? No, she doesn't deserve to die." And Sato's like, "Okay," and he just walks away. He's like, "I'm just gonna go fuck with Kay for a little bit."
Because he's
Yeah.
so bored.
Yeah,
He's
'cause,
like,
like,
I don't
the-
care about that anymore.
Yeah, they established that earlier. It's just that he's not doing this because he cares about these particular 11 people that need to die in his eyes. It's because he wants to be entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that scene earlier on when he was like, I should have made it shorter. Like that was
Yeah.
that was just
Like-
so good. Like I should have been a shorter list. Fuck, I'm so bored. Like this is taking forever. Like
Yeah, it's amazing.
and then having that supported by the mention of like kind of the mind link that they had for a moment of him being like, he got my fear, but I felt his exhilaration. Like I felt how excited he was in that moment. And like the fact that that kind of information was used to predict his actions in the future, I thought was really cool. Like, okay, I understand him a bit better now. Like this person who, for all intents and purposes, appears to everybody else to have no emotions and feel nothing. Like, I have something now that kind of explains him, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah, it was like a nice way to delve into his character a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like we got in the his like past, like what
Yeah, I
happened.
was gonna say about
But
his
I feel
flashback.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like what Kay had learned was just like felt even more like encompassed everything that he is too, just from that one line of being like, I felt his like ecstasy at being like so engaged in killing and things like that.
I love the baby squeaks as we're talking about
I
this.
know. I know, right?
It's cute.
Something, Lou, that you brought up earlier about the like, excuse me, my baby, about the gore was and bloodshed. I didn't even like really notice it in this because it felt so like vital to it. And it didn't feel over the top gratuitous, like it was just doing it to be edgy, which I thought the very early stages of the series were trying to be that. But in this section, it definitely did not feel like that at all. I loved it. Not that I don't love gratuitous blood and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like Ajin is better when it isn't trying to be edgy and like using it.
Yeah, because
And
we've... Sorry, go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we've definitely read manga, not spoiling anything, but we've definitely read manga in the past where it starts off very cerebral and then it sort of devolves, right? And this one feels more like it was not all over the place, but it wasn't quite as focused at the beginning, and it wasn't quite as like well thought out. And at this point now, it's like, no, everything has purpose and everything makes sense and everything is clear, despite the fact that so many characters are like left in the dark. Like it's awesome to see a manga grow in that way versus kind of fall apart into just like power creep and like etc. You know,
because all the power increase here makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's just adapting how the reviving occurs with an Ajin, like we've been talking about with the wood chipper. Was like that's something that Kay wouldn't have even considered doing, mostly because of his obsession or his thought process with, if his head's destroyed, he's not him when he revives. So just the way that Sato he keeps trying to get Kay to think outside of that to make it more interesting for him is also just a great dynamic.
Yes. So Aaron like alluded to his past. So we got to really like spend some time like, you know, with all the animals, which like that was the one part where I thought it was just kind of, it was gross. Like, you know, all the human slaughter is perfectly acceptable. But it's just the background of like all those dead animals.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It was
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
helped to
zoomed
illustrate
into
kind of.
what animals he killed. I was like, ooh, which ones did he take?
It was definitely there to illustrate his thought process and how he's always kind of been a little twisted. So I
Sure.
think that it made its point, but it was.
Well, I mean, yeah, and they always say that that people who are going to be like violent psychopaths of some kind typically start on animals. So it makes sense that that's part of his backstory. But yeah, I did find it interesting that we had that whole storyline of him being like honestly like brilliant, like a brilliant tactician, that they were able to like potentially get in, get out without shooting anybody to like save this prisoner of war. And then he was just like, there was just like a snapping point for him, right?
Just like, this is too easy.
Yeah, literally. And it's like,
I kind of, while like I can see how the whole violence against animals plays into his character and like really is it makes sense following the type of character that they're trying to build with Sato. I think it would have been more interesting to see that becoming or discovering that he is an Ajin and what that entailed transforming him into this type of person. I think that would have been a little bit more interesting.
Like power kind of corrupting him instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the other side of it, like the story that we did end up getting, does have some merit to it. That power in and of itself doesn't corrupt. That people make choices. So I think it's like I would have been happy either way. Like in the, I don't want to like again. I have things I have to say about the anime, but I can't say that.
Was stuff done differently in the anime?
There was no backstory. There was no significant backstory for Sato. So I think it was open to interpretation. And the way I understood his backstory in the anime was, oh well, no, he was corrupted into becoming this, and it makes sense. It makes sense. He was in the military. We see that much. And we know that he's an Ajin. So that combination of things kind of would lead you to assume, oh, yeah, no, he lost his shit. Like something happened with the U.S. government. He lost his shit. And here we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep it more vague.
That was like an interesting like bait and switch they kind of did with the dad.
Yes.
Where you're like,
because
okay, so an abusive daddy.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be too. I thought it was interesting that's not.
I had the same thought.
Yeah.
And that he ended up being that his dad was like, I love you so much. Like, I want you to know that I love you. And so it wasn't the dad's like abuse that was driving Sato. It's like, this is who Sato was. That's what like the animals and stuff, which was, a very interesting, because that's used so often is the like abusive parent thing. So I'm not saying I liked that Sato ended up being an animal killer.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That was an interesting way, of doing that.
They bait and switched us, and that's an interesting way to take it.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts was when Kay had the dream, and like Sato just appeared with the airplane like torpedoes. I was like, it caught me. They had me. I genuinely thought
I had forgotten everything that I'd read this previously. So, like, I was reading it, and I'm like, oh, right, this happens. Oh, wait, no, it didn't. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, because
I was remembering, like, I was remembering the battle afterwards, and I'm like, am I just not remembering this right?
Yeah, because I remember thinking to myself when he showed up with this plane, and Kay was like, how did he get that? Like, these windows aren't supposed to be pierceable with like normal bullets. Like, where did he even, I don't understand how this is happening. And I was like, yeah, this does seem very extreme. And then when it was a dream, I was like, oh, son of a bitch.
he got there. Kay got there. It was like within the dream, was like, oh, this is a dream because this can't be happening.
But then they even had it with like the chapter at the very end of our last reading with Kai. And the whole like prison thing where the dude is like, I'll let you out one time because of what you did. I'll get you out one time. And then he's there when he was like, Kay's in trouble. So you're like, oh shit, this is it. This is happening. And
He's
then
here.
it was
Finally, boyfriends reunited, and then it was a dream.
Don't forget that scene.
not.
That's all I'll say.
Oh,
Don't forget that scene.
Okay.
get that shit. I won't. Yeah, so we had the whole, it was just like we said, one long action sequence.
Hmm.
What did you guys think about Nagano? Is that the other dude? The other kid? Naga.
Oh,
the other
Nakano.
dude.
Ko Nakano.
Yeah, the other kid.
Nakano.
Yeah.
Nakano, yeah.
Yeah, Ko. Yeah.
I forgot that he like couldn't use his Ajin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that was
I-
like
I did too.
an element of him.
Yeah. What did you guys think about him and like the fact that him and Kay were their dynamic? Because it's very different from seeing like Kay and Kai. By the way, still
Yeah.
screw these names.
Yeah,
Ko,
100%.
Kay, and Kai, and then they add another Kai because the CEO is Keiichi Kai. I'm like,
Yeah.
there are so many names.
There are
There are
enough
so many
names.
names, and you pick 3 that we're gonna all confuse. I'll remember this.
Before we go into like the dynamic of Ko and Kai, I thought the way like he died for the first time was just, I laughed. I'm not gonna fucking lie. He's standing on, all right, like just standing on a bunch of a stack of, yeah, he's standing on a stack of magazines trying to change a light bulb, and then he fell, and he was there for days,
Yeah, 'cause he was
paralyzed
paralyzed.
until he died.
I'm like, that's
so
the most.
sad.
It was
Like-
sad, but I laughed my ass off.
I mean, it's that kind of morbid humor that Ajin tends
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
tends to
Mhm.
indulge itself
Oh,
in. And
definitely.
it's just one of those. Okay, that was maybe like the most anticlimactic way to die,
Right.
and also it's trying to kind of show that Ko is not the same as a lot of the other people who are Ajin.
I was gonna
Mhm.
say it's a very fitting thing for Ko.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A very fitting way for Ko to have died. Which is why I think it was funny. Like, I agree. Like, I kind of chuckled too, where I was like, "Oh, Ko."
Yeah.
Changing a light
Ko
bulb.
being with Kai reminds me that Kai is also a child. Does that make sense?
You mean K?
K. Jesus Christ.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like-
that's true.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Ko feels so young,
Mm-hmm.
and K doesn't feel young most of the time because he's
Yeah.
so in his head and he's around so many adults. So I actually really like that they were paired up for all of this, because I was like, oh yeah, they're like the babies. They're like the babies
Yeah,
of this
they're like-
group.
14 or 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah,
something
his
with
perspective.
oh here, sorry, I was about to change the
You can-
subject. But
Go
did
ahead.
anyone else have any more thoughts on like their dynamic and stuff?
He's there kind of like
Mm.
as the moral compass and the perspective, just to
Yeah.
see like where we're at and how
Yeah.
just absurd the situation is from an external perspective.
Yeah.
I just want Ko to, I guess, go beyond where he is right now and become more useful to the team. Not that he's not useful, but I feel like he will eventually, within the context of the manga, because the anime is different apparently. He will come into his own.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping for, and I hope that that he doesn't get lost in a shuffle, because like, you know, we do have our K as our main protagonist and like his conflict with Sato, but I don't like I like how Ajin handles its secondary characters.
Me
Mhm.
too.
Like they all feel like they have purpose. Like there's enough other people that are expendable that they don't matter. So I like the fact that the secondary characters are given attention. You know,
Mhm.
they don't feel like background characters.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised that I remembered a lot of things about them too. I was like, that it must have been written well that I can remember so many things about these characters as like they're being referenced again now, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought it was interesting watching Kay slowly grow more and more, like realizing that he does consider some lives important,
Hmm.
because from the start that's been his thing, where he's like, well, I just
I don't care about people.
care about people.
Yeah.
And
I'm so cool.
even
I'm a nihilist, man. Nothing matters. Yeah. Yeah.
so edge.
Yeah. He's being an edgy
And-
shonen protagonist, and he grows beyond
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. And so his whole speech to Ko, I really liked his whole monologue about how even unconsciously you think about people's lives in terms of importance to you. And so him saying that, but then also walking away visibly affected by the fact that all those people he'd been with like died. I don't know if it's because he felt it more because he had a plan in place that he thought was going, like, he had some hope would succeed, and then it didn't, so all these people died.
Hmm.
But it's just nice to see him getting that slowly growing that feel for people. But I am interested to see how that plays out in terms of him with Sato and like what all that's going to be, because that was something that's interesting about him, is that as a character he supposedly doesn't care about people.
Right.
And that was an interesting side of him. So I don't know if I want him to lose that, but I'd be interested in exploring where that's going.
Yeah, because I think I'm probably not the only one who, at a certain point in this manga, was like, okay, so we have two unfeeling robots that are gonna fight to the death, and that's what this manga's about.
Yeah.
Great, cool. So it's good to get more information about Sato, and it's good to see development in K. And yeah, I'm on the same page where it's like, I don't necessarily want him to like have this epiphany where he's like, life is precious. I don't want that, right? That's not who he is. But I like him exploring his own mind more, you know, and being like, well, not everybody's the same for me. So what does that mean? You know, that sort of exploration, I think, is interesting for a character that's set up the way that he is.
Yeah. And what was like, I thought was interesting too, was like he had so much emotion about what had just happened and the loss of those guys that were fighting with him. And then the very last panel is him being like, oh, I should call my mom. And he's visibly like completely lacking in emotion there. So it's an interesting contrast between what he saw before, what would happen before, just pages before that.
Yeah.
Ajin is just a coming of age story. Changed my mind. Just about Kay and how he's learned to deal with his emotions.
Yeah, he's got to learn to deal with his emotions.
And also wood chippers.
So it's basically K-On, right? That's what it is.
It
Yeah,
is
exactly.
K-On,
It's K-On.
yeah.
It's just K-On, except
Reskinned.
instead of a band, it's a band of criminals and a wood chipper.
Yeah. If you threw K-On in a wood chipper, it would come out as Ajin.
Perfect.
Great.
Yeah,
Excellent.
you know what?
There you go.
That's very
about right.
accurate.
That would be more accurate than the My Anime List summary. I think we should update it.
Yeah, the Mal summary is like the most useless summary. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just like.
I mean, that's
this
par
isn't
for the
even-
course with Mal summaries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't even vaguely
Convoluted.
correct.
Yeah,
This
it
isn't
was so
even vaguely
convoluted.
right.
So we also had Tanaka, I believe is his name, the other Ajin dude,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
demi-human.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had his whole thing where he went to kill the doctor or the secretary who
Right.
was there.
And you
he
get his
ended up not
backstory.
doing it. So we got a little bit of him. What did you guys think about his time that we were shown on this? Not a whole like ton of development happened with him,
Yeah.
except like slowly seeing that Sato is kind of like not into it like he's into it. Like he's not doing it for the reasons he's doing it. Tanaka's doing it. But I want to know what's going to happen with the secretary lady. Like, I don't get why
Me
he had to
too.
change of heart, really. So I want to hear it a little bit.
If I was gonna guess, it probably has to do with her showing like
genuine
resembles
remorse.
compassion or like remorse or
Yeah.
hesitation about
Yeah.
using him as a test subject.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So
I think it's the same thing. I think that like he is much more like he's still definitely a zealot for what they're doing, but for him it's like I want to make sure that the people, like the terrible people who deserve to die, are dead. And I think when he saw her, he decided, like a part of him decided she's not the same as the monsters that are like behind the scenes.
Like
Right,
she's
different.
complicit, but she wasn't the source of his suffering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she isn't evil. For him, she doesn't deserve to die the way that other people on the list do. Yeah,
And
that's
the
how it
fucking
felt to me.
The president just like,
Oh my
all right, guys,
God.
you got this. Peace. And just
Bye.
goes and
it's like, okay, got covered. I'll be
Literally
drinking,
like
you
2
know.
chapters after they had been like, so no secret rooms, no hidden floors, no mezzanines we need to know about. And they were like, nah, it's all on here, dog. And then the president was like, all right, bye. Like went into a secret room and they were like, what the fuck?
I like the way he
turned to the
died.
Secretary, and they're
Yeah,
like,
the way
"Did
he
you
died
know
was
that?"
perfect.
No.
Because that also added like more breadth to how Ajin work. Like they actually
Yeah.
in this reading they explain a lot more how the demi-humans work.
Yeah. Which, it was really, that was something that was awesome about this whole fight scene, was watching Sato use his abilities in ways that were just so intelligent that you would never think about how to use them. Like the fact that he would cut off his arm and throw it on the other side so that he would regenerate over there instead of where he was. Like it's just all this stuff. And so I loved getting to see that because it makes me excited to see how that gets played with later on. And I hope it gets played with an even cooler way. Like I'd be fine with just seeing some really awesome stuff with that.
I mean, I don't know what's going to be more awesome than him chopping off his hand, Kentucky frying it, having it couriered into like the business, and then wood chippering himself so that the largest portion is his hand, so he just rematerializes inside the security room. I don't know how to top that.
No, I'm okay with that being the top. I just want a few more things beneath it. Like I'm okay with that being top tier.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know how to beat that.
I mean, they're welcome to try. I have no objection to that.
Yeah, I mean, go for it. I'm cool with more insane fight sequences.
Yeah.
Like handcuffing his hand and chopping it and then shooting it off and then going around a corner, shooting some people, getting shot, and then regenerating around the corner.
I mean, like a step up from that would be literally shooting his arm out of a gun, like the arm is
like,
the projectile.
Or like he just human cannonballs himself except for a small part. Like that's the only way to up this. It's just
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Ajin mangaka, I hope you're watching. Please take notes.
We have ideas.
Pearls of wisdom. Pearls of wisdom.
We have an idea.
Is Ajin still going?
Yeah, it's still ongoing.
Yeah.
I think we get about 1 volume here a year right now, something like that.
Mm.
And I think it's monthly.
Monthly.
Damn.
I was like, that would hurt.
Oh, it's killer. It's
So I
killer
guess
trying
if
to
it's
read
monthly.
this.
That's 12 chapters. That makes sense.
It
Math.
is
Math.
brutal to read once yearly. It's like reading Vinland Saga, and then
Right. Yeah.
it's
Yes.
the same problem.
With Vinland
Just do what
Saga,
I
I always have
do.
to leave it for like a couple of months and then,
Come back.
yeah.
Mhm.
Say, just do what I do and screen grab the pages and then translate on your phone to attempt to translate it.
And it
Like, I'm
always
just saying.
works.
It's really
From
Yeah,
my
good.
totally.
conversations with Aaron, it always works perfectly.
I mean, I'm going the other route of my wife is learning Japanese, so I'll just have her read
That's
it to me.
true.
There you
There
go.
we go.
Perfect.
Problem
Yeah.
solved. Yeah.
I love it. All right, should we talk about art?
Sure. Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on it?
It's amazing as always.
I think it's great.
mean,
Yeah.
I think it's only gotten better.
I think it's gotten better as well. I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Very
wood
clear.
chippers, guys.
I think with how innovative the violence has been, like that has really showcased the quality of the art. Like there's that one scene where the girl Ajin user, I forget her name,
I forget her name too.
Izumi, I think it is.
The only lady Ajin,
Yeah, the only Lady Ajin person.
lady demi-human.
Yeah, where the the Ajin slices through her arm.
Mhm.
That shit
just-
looks so good. And then the
Yeah.
panels,
So
like
good.
all of the action made sense, and like the way the mangaka is able to convey, it felt animated. Like while I was reading it, like I could visualize how this would look animated, and it looked so good in terms of like the pacing of the fight and the way the panels were set up. Like it was
I love that
great.
panel.
Yes.
Like it's just
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like you feel that just looking at it.
I had the same thing with when Ko and Kay were in the hallway, and the one Ajin came at Ko, and Kay knocked him out of the way. Like when it was going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I had that same feeling there. I reread that. It's just like such a fluid scene. The way the panels were set up.
All the action scenes just seem really fluid and just well designed and laid out, so that it just it feels animated. It feels like it's just cohesive, and you flow through it perfectly.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear my baby snoring?
No, but I wish I could.
I wonder if I can make it happen. Hold on.
Get real
Okay.
close.
I have
Be quiet. That's adorable.
It's great.
That's hilarious.
That's better than my cat, who snores ridiculously, and she just sounds like a human snoring. I'm like, well, that's my trash goblin of a cat. I love her.
it.
I love it.
That's so cute. Aw.
Do you guys have anything else you would like to touch on? Talk about?
Not that I can think of.
I think I'm good.
I'm just looking through my notes real quick. Well, like the actual like attack on the forge security, there's just like a bunch of really cool ways that you use. Like the way that they had Kay funnel all of his Ajin particles through the ventilation system
That
and
was
just blind all
so
of them.
great. Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking sick, because he doesn't have great control over his Ajin, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
just kind of doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That whole I thought that was really cool. That entire fight scene that they did. And that just shows like Kay's mind too of like, all right, how can I use Asian powers just like or Ajin Ajin powers like Sato does, and just like working that in. And so it was really cool how that happened. And the whole the hacker dude
Yeah.
realizing
Oh, that was
that
pretty
he
cool.
got
That was
like
great. I love
got
that.
had. Yeah. It was
It's
dope.
like, well, shit. That was just how it went.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
moment of realization, like, oh, it's a trap. So good.
Oh, that's a good move. Thump.
Oh.
So good.
Yeah.
Kay's
Yeah.
Ajin is a tsundere, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Yes.
Oh, when they realized that Sato's Ajin could move on its own.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a really cool scene, because they're like, we got him, and then his Ajin was like, you don't got him.
Yes. That Ajin fucked them up.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a great scene.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's
Should
whole
we do
section
final
is very
thoughts
good.
and rating?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what I gave it last time.
I know. I feel like I gave it between a 7 and an 8.
That's what I think too. I think this
don't
has
think
been
I
my
went lower
favorite
than
batch of
that.
readings so far, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
I feel like an 8. Like I feel like this section is so well done, and it's so good, and it's like hits all the right points for an action manga, which this very much is. It's not, I don't think, trying to be real deep on any like philosophical level or anything, but it has some really good character development, touching on like Kay's point of view and the way he views other people. And so it hits all of the right points with that, and with the characters, and getting to see how they do stuff in a fight scene. And I think it solidified Sato as a really strong villain, like a very interesting antagonist too.
yeah.
Whereas before he just kind of felt very like cartoon villainy to me.
Mhm.
So to have this batch of reading, I think it just solidified that, and it just has gotten better. Like Ajin has just gotten better and better with each chapter, which is really refreshing. Like Dodger was saying earlier, it's really refreshing to see a manga find its footing and really stick to that and just grow and get better.
For sure.
So I think I'm gonna give it an 8, and the art was also just awesome.
Yeah, I think I would give this section. Numbers are hard, man.
I know.
Probably an 8.5. I really enjoyed it. Or maybe a 9. Fuck, I don't know. It was really good.
An 8 to a 9.
An 8 to a 9. Like, I really appreciate when it feels like a scene or an event happens in a manga, and at the end of it, or like while it's happening, I'm thinking to myself, this was so well planned out. Like, this was so well done, all of this. And that's how I felt for this entire section of reading. And it like really made me want to just read all of it. And like in the past, I have wanted to continue reading, but I haven't felt that urge of like, God, that whole section was so satisfying to read. Like, I want to read more so bad. You know?
This section is definitely what really solidified it as a solid manga for me as well.
Yeah. So I'll
follow your heart, follow your doki doki.
8.7.
Give it just call it an 8+. It's an 8+.
8+. Just like Disney Plus. 8+. Yeah.
Random, you want to go next?
Sure. I'll give it a Kentucky Fried Hand out of 10 because
Nice,
I don't
I
really
like
give
it.
scores.
Perfect.
So 5?
It's just a hand. Not a specific number of fingers.
I guess I'll go. So this section of reading was really really well put together. It gave us some very important backstory and was packed with some really interesting looking action. I think we got some insight into our protagonist, not a whole bunch of it, but like him coming to the realization of what his role in this conflict is as the foil for Sato, who, like, the more I think about it, like, Sato kind of reminds me of the Joker in that it's more about chaos and the challenge as opposed to any specific goal. At least, you know, like from like Heath Ledger's Joker would be the comparison that I would draw. Definitely. But outside of outside of that, it's just a really well put together reading. Definitely the strongest bit of Ajin that we've covered. I think I've the last batch of reading I may have given it like an 8.5. This is definitely a 9 for me. Sitting at an 8.5 overall because definitely that first grouping of reading was a lot weaker than this. So,
the first several volumes are definitely not as good.
Scores aside, like I still want to emphasize that that progression it makes this manga worth reading
for sure,
and it's definitely worth the few hours it'll take you to get through it because it is that fast.
It's a really fast read.
Agreed. It's just so quick. Well, there you go. We all recommend it, definitely. So you should go and check out Ajin if it sounds like something you're interested in. It's great. So let's go. You know what? I'm not even going to read the description. I'll just give you guys a hint, and I'm going to guess you're going to be able to figure it out.
Slam it.
So next week, we are actually not having a MangaPod, but the week after that... spoilers. The week after that, we are going to be reading a manga, and your guys' hint, you get to guess it in the chat. Your guys' hint is Plus Ultra.
It's Tower of God, right? That's the joke. Is that the meme? It's Tower of God.
It's Battle Angel Alita.
Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, okay. Is that the new meme? Did I miss that? Or is that the same
when
meme
we first started MangaPod, a lovely person in our lives used to come into chat and be like, "Hey, I'm really excited for you guys to read Battle Angel Alita next week."
Yeah,
and he would say it like almost every week.
Yeah.
We were like,
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then for our 100th episode, we read Battle Angel Alita for the first time. It was great.
And it's
It
really
was
good.
great,
I need
yeah.
to. I need to watch the movie. Like I haven't
my
seen
gosh,
the movie
it's
yet.
I actually
so good.
really liked the movie.
I've heard it's
I
good.
loved
Sam and
the
I really
movie.
enjoyed it. Yeah.
I keep
loved
meaning to read the
movie.
manga, but there's
There's
only so
parts
many
of that
hours.
I was like, okay, you were weak. You were kind of a weak storyline, but overall, I think it was an amazing adaptation. I really hope they make a sequel
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
for it. Guys, how is nobody guessing this one?
Oh, are we actually supposed to
It's
guess?
super, super obscure.
It's real obscure.
Yes.
Come on,
You know,
chat.
plus
Just
Ultra,
somebody
I
say
mean,
it.
That could come from so many different.
Angie,
Yeah.
Angie
There we
said
go.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you
Angie.
go.
You saved us.
We would have been stuck here all night.
Yeah, we never would have left.
No. But
Don't give them
that
ideas,
is
that
what we are going to read on May 7th. And we are reading. Hold on. I got one hand. We are reading volumes 14 through 17, chapters 121 through 157. Hopefully, if people have read it and that is an okay endpoint, let us know. We have history of not doing so great with.
I'll double check because I've read it
Okay.
now. So
Perfect.
Oh, sweet. Perfect.
I can double check for us.
I have told them on several occasions. Don't stop on that chapter. maybe one or two more or less.
Yeah,
God,
that's like what
it's the
Lou
story of our
was
lives.
talking about with like this one. We like actually we hit it.
Yeah,
We
I
did
was
good.
shocked because I was looking through. I'm like, okay, am I gonna have to tell them they're like, chapters at the end? Okay, it's like, oh my god, they got it right this time.
I
We did
know.
it. We did it, team. I'm proud of us.
We did it.
Mwah.
But yeah, if you guys would like to check out the schedule for MangaPod, we have a subreddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. The schedule is there as well as a recommendation thread. If you guys would like to see us discuss a certain manga that we haven't yet, go ahead and post it there. And if you want to see more of a manga that we read, go ahead and post it there. And also, if it's already there, you can go ahead and upvote it. Let's go around and shout out our stuff super fast. I'm Erin of Happily Erin. I have a YouTube channel. MangaPod is hosted there, as well as all of my anime reviews, first impressions, and stuff. I haven't really done anything like that recently, but if you wanted to check it out, I would still really appreciate it. I'm currently working on a rewrite of my first book, and that'll hopefully be coming out really soon. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm much more active on Twitter right now. That's Happily Erin all across the everything. I had a baby and post a lot about my baby. So if you're interested in that, my two babies, in that, come check out my two babies.
Well, I wasn't interested in
meme-tastic.
one baby, but definitely two babies.
They provide excellent memes.
They
so-
do.
They do.
Yes.
They're good meme lords. Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. You can find me at Dex Bonus on everything. I stream almost every day, and I also have a baby. Not two, just one. I know, the disappointment.
But she's
But-
pretty awesome.
Aw,
Yeah.
she is.
She's gotten so big since the last time I saw her. It was crazy.
I love her. Yeah, she's so big now, man. She's literally like days away from being a year old. Isn't that fucking crazy?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Time flies. It's
Time
ridiculous.
flies. It's crazy.
Before you know it, you're going to be packing up the car and she's going to drive off to college.
Don't say that.
It's okay, Dodger. You have 17 years. It's fine.
Lou and I were like, we have shorter time than that. We're like, oh.
I have 9 years
Oh.
or less because she's graduating early.
Oh,
What a precious bean.
precious.
Yeah.
Little girl.
All right, Lou.
So
hit it.
my name is Lou, and mostly I'm just on Twitter at Lou Talks Anime. I have my own personal YouTube channel, which I don't post at very often, and that's at youtube.com/Lou Talks Anime now. I have a podcast with friend of the show, Dakota Broski, called The Anime Hour. You can check us out. The last episode that I've actually edited and uploaded was with Aaron, and we talk about sports anime.
Yeah.
There is another episode that I've been trying to make time to work on it, but life has been really busy and hectic. I'm gonna try to crank that out by Friday though. One way or another. One way or another, it's gonna come out on Friday. And I'm planning on getting into streaming on Twitch again. I'm gonna make a concerted effort this time.
More chess.
Actually, I want to play some Yakuza 0 because I started playing that. I started playing that the other day. I asked Twitter. I'm like, hey, these are games that are on my Steam library. What should I play? And Yakuza 0 won the poll, and I knocked out the first chapter. I'm like, I fucking love this game. I want to play all of the games. Yakuza is my life now.
I mean, you're gonna have to wait for the 3 and 4 remasters. 3, 4,
Don't
5?
do this to me.
I think 3, 4, and 5 are not on current gen console. They're
not. I know.
Yeah,
I'm aware. I'm aware that I'm gonna have to suffer for an extended period of time. I'm okay with that.
4 confirmed, or remasters or something. They will be showing up.
No, for sure. I want to play Yakuza 0, and yes, Dodger, I will be streaming chess occasionally.
Yeah, that's a good shit.
Hell yeah. And that's my stuff.
Random.
Hi, I'm Random. I at one point in my life made an anime video. You can find those at animeopinions.moe. Assuming that the copyright claimed them, which they did recently. Hilariously.
Oh, no.
I thought it was the funniest thing. I got an email notification. This has been copyright claimed. I'm like, anyway, not that. You can follow me at Randomsama613 on all social media, and I occasionally post things that I find amusing.
He's lovely.
And thanks for having me on. This is always fun.
Thank you for being on.
Of course. Yeah, thank you for coming on. We always love having you. Poor Miana.
That's not her.
No, that's
coughing
Judah
everywhere.
That's the babu in the house whose birthday is in 18 minutes. He's turning 4.
Happy birthday!
Judah, my friend said happy birthday to you. He's not in the mood for my shit.
That's fair. No. He's coughing up a storm.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and watching us talk about Ajin. We will be here not next week, but the week after, talking My Hero Academia. We hope that you guys can join us for that, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
Bye. Wait. You want to say hi?
Bye.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
When I was putting the toast down, I spilled my soda.
No, really?
All over my pants and all over the wall and the table.
He was very upset about
it.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, buddy.
But after he gave me more.
Oh, well, that's nice.
That's
3
fair.
cans and soda.
He didn't really have 3 cans. He thinks he has 3 cans.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's ratting you out.
That's why he's awake at almost midnight.
All right.
Awesome.
What a sweetheart.
So sweet.
Bye.
Oh,
Okay.
bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.